and welcome everyone. Today we're going to be taking a look at part of Microsoft 365 that I feel people often overlook. Most of us live in Outlook, Teams, Word, and Excel, but Microsoft 365 actually includes a whole set of tools that are designed to solve everyday work problems. So the focus today is mainly going to be on three different apps. We're not going to do, of course, every Microsoft app that is available. We're going to talk about Microsoft Bookings, Microsoft Forms, and the video capabilities with Microsoft Clipchamp. So as we go through each one today, I want you to be thinking about one reoccurring task that you do that you feel like it's harder than it really should be. Things like scheduling time, especially when you're trying to coordinate with multiple people for multiple reasons, you're meeting with them, collecting information, or explaining the same thing over and over again. These Microsoft apps that we're going to be talking about are designed to reduce that friction. We're going to start today with Microsoft Bookings. That solves one of the biggest productivity killers, the back and forth scheduling capabilities. So first off, excuse me, I got a tickle already. Oh, duh, sorry. I wanted to show you if I create a blank new email in Outlook, you can have the bookings be available directly in your signature. So you can see on this email that I'm creating, I have this book time to meet with me. You could have that be a part of your signature in Outlook as well. If I click on it, I wanted to show you first, how does this actually look? Then I'll show you how do you create it and get it all set up. So what's going to happen when you share that with somebody, whether you have it as a signature or you give it to them just as a link in wherever you want to put it, whether it's in SharePoint, it's in OneNote notebook, you send it via email, however you want to do it. The nice thing about having it in your signature, though, is it can be available to anyone. So if you're working with outside organizations that need to also schedule time with you, they would have access to that. Now, how Bookings works is that it is connected with other applications, specifically Outlook. So if you are updating your Outlook calendar, when someone goes to book time with you, which I'm referring right now to your personal booking time, it's connected directly to your Outlook calendar, and they would be able to see your availability based on the type of meeting it is that they want to schedule with you. So if they're looking for a half an hour time increment, an hour increment, it's only going to show those available times based on your calendar. So an important piece to this is make sure your calendar is updated because otherwise, if you don't have things on your calendar that's blocking that time, someone would be able to book time with you. So what you're actually seeing, and I don't know where my image went, but you can see I have my profile circle at the top. This little thing in the background, I had a pencil, books and pencil with the chalkboard background. I'll show you what I mean by that here in a minute, but for some reason it's not showing up right at this moment. But basically, it's the header at the top, just letting everybody know that they're in your bookings. Then down at the bottom, you're going to see these little tiles, and each of these tiles I've created for people to be able to click on to book that time with me. So you could see I have one that's called HRW2 meeting for 30 minutes. They can do a one-on-one discussion, a half-hour consultation, a 1 hour meeting, 30-minute meeting, a full day training session, half day training session, whatever you want to build into it as far as what kind of appointments might someone need to book with you, whether it's 15 minutes, 30 minutes, a full day, whatever the case might be, you can create these. And it really only takes a minute or so to create them. This to me has saved me so much time and headaches with going back and forth on when am I available, when are they available. I used to have side by side, here's an email and here's my calendar, and we're kind of going back and forth on when I'm available and what times am I available. I used to do that and it would take me sometimes 30 minutes to go through my calendar and say, okay, I'm available on these days at this time, and I'd have to type it all in. And boy, I got really tired of doing that. So when Microsoft came out with this app called Bookings, I was thrilled to pieces. So how it will work is they will open the link, however you give it to them. Like I said, I'll show you how to share it, and then they will see your availability. So if I say that I want to book a 1-hour meeting, as soon as I click on that tile for that 1-hour meeting, it's going to jump down to my calendar showing the available times. So like on Thursday, April 9th, they could book me for 2:30, 3 o'clock, or 3:30. So it's based on your working times on your calendar as well. So if for some reason on Wednesdays you work from 7 to 2 o'clock, it's not going to allow them to book anything after that. So 1:30 for a half an hour would be all they could do. So just so you know, it works off of your calendar settings. So make sure your Outlook calendar settings are appropriate, and make sure that if you have other events going on, that those are added to your calendar. Otherwise, it assumes you're available. So as I click on any of these days, you can actually then see the availability for those specific days. So it's pretty cool how this all works, and they just choose the time. So like if I choose on this Thursday, I happen to work at 7:30 in the morning. If that's not set up on my calendar that way, it's not going to show 8 to 5 or whatever it is that you work. So make sure it's set up correctly. But what's going to happen is as soon as they choose the time based on the date, they click next, it's going to automatically capture their name and their email address. They can type in a note back to you. What is the meeting about? Anything that you need to know about it. Then they're going to click book. It's going to automatically email you. So let me go back to my Outlook so you can see the full realm of how this all works prior to me showing you how to build it. So I just got this new email that came in saying new booking. So when I click on it, I can see that I got a new booking from Jolynn Reen for 1 hour on this day, etc. It automatically has added that to my calendar. Whoever does the bookings with you and yourself do have the capability of going to that appointment on the calendar, so their calendar or you go to your calendar. You could always propose to change the time or to cancel it, whatever needs to be done. So you have that capability on both ends. So if you're the one that booked time with somebody else and you want to cancel it, you can. So gosh, I just think this is one of my favorite tools that I don't see enough people really taking advantage of. They think they need to have a third-party app to do this, but third-party apps don't always connect to your Outlook, plus you have to pay for them. This is part of your Microsoft Office license. Now, I'm going to go ahead and close my Outlook, slide it back over to my other screen here real quick. And I'm going to close this because how in the world did I get this set up? That's going to be the key for today is how do you build your own? So you can build two different things. You can actually build a personal page, or you can have one that is for a department or a group of people that they could actually choose which person on it that is available that they could meet with. But let me back up a little bit and show you first how do you get to bookings yourself. So it's an app. Go to your Microsoft Office account. Go to office.com. They actually have a new web address, URL, but I'm usually in Copilot, so I just go to my apps launcher on the bottom left, and I can get into all my apps, alphabetized list. I just click bookings. Once it opens up bookings, I already have a personal bookings page created, so I can see mine already. But if you don't have one created, it's going to give you creating a meeting type and getting things set up on the right-hand side. So basically, you can see that right now I have these tiles of what it is that I have set up for my bookings appointments. But notice at the top right, it has this create meeting type. Also, there's a menu of more options that you can go into at the top right. You have sharing capabilities, etc. But when you go to first come in, you're going to get a getting started. It kind of is a little wizard that can walk you through. Mine is at the top right now, where it says 2 of 3 get started. I'm going to show you that real quick because it opens up this pane on the right hand side of the screen that you can use where you could preview your bookings page and it gives you a try it option. But this is where you can actually go to set things up. So you can share it once you have it built, etc. But it walks you through 3 different steps to really get it set up. So I'm referring to your personal bookings. So this is for just booking, somebody wants to book a meeting directly with you and wants to know your availability, whether they are internal or external to your organization. They can book time with you. Now, how do you get these times or these types of meetings entered? I'm going to close this pane on the right-hand side right now, and I'm going to go to Create Meeting Type. From this Create Meeting Type, you're going to put in a title for the meeting. If you want to categorize it, you can do that as well. So let's do an example of, let's say that I'm actually in HR. And people can book time with me for a couple of different things, whether it's going to be new employee onboarding meeting, where we want to have appointments for new hire welcome and paperwork. They want to do a first week HR check-in. They want to do a benefits overview session. Those are things that you could do if you were in HR. So just kind of think about, what do you do? What is your role? What are some things that people might want to book time with you on? If I'm in IT, they might want to, I do help desk stuff. They might want to book time with me to go over how to use the new Outlook, whatever the case might be. So I'm in marketing and somebody wants to book time with me to come up with brainstorming ideas and to help me with some sales or a new product or service that we're going to be developing. Just kind of think about what it is that people would want to book with you. I gave you some ideas also in your handout. So make sure you do get that handout downloaded. It's going to give you more detail than, of course, I have time to cover in the 1-hour session here, but let me just give you some ideas. So let's say that I am in HR and I do work with the new employee onboarding, and so they might want to have a new hire. So I'm going to call it new hire welcome and paperwork. So managers or whatever need to come schedule this time with me because they've got a new employee that's starting and we need to do their onboarding paperwork. So book time to connect with me. It's got a location. It can be a Teams meeting. If you don't want it to be a Teams meeting, you slide that off and you could say it's going to be in your office, it's going to be in a conference room, whatever the case might be. You can then, and by the way, where it says book time to connect with me, you could put in a description there. So you could write in a description as to what does new hire welcome and paperwork mean. Then you have a time increment. So how long does that take? You can put in 15 minutes up to 1 hour with 15-minute increments, or give it a custom time. If it's going to be 20 minutes, 40 minutes, whatever, you can choose whatever time frame you need. And then, is this available to the public? Meaning, is your page with your appointments, are all of these appointments available to anybody that has your booking page, or is this private for just the people in your organization, just the people that you share that with? So you choose public or private. I'm going to keep it on public for right now. And then under the schedule customization section, it says use my regular meeting hours, and notice it has C, regular meeting hours. If you have not gone to Outlook and set up your meeting hours, I should say your work hours, your work days, click that link. It will automatically open up the Outlook settings, which is going to take you directly to the calendar section. highly recommend, if you have never been in there, you definitely need to do this, because you can choose what time do you start on Mondays, what days of the week do you work. If I don't work Fridays, I could uncheck Fridays. So choose the date and the time for each day of the week. Uncheck the days you don't work. They can only book during those working times. On the right-hand side, the third column over, you have the capability of choosing, do you normally work remote on Mondays, or are you in the office? So if you're a hybrid worker and you go back and forth, you can actually choose from office or remote. You can change that on the fly, though, also for a specific day by being in the Outlook calendar. Just so you know, you can go to the top of that day and change it if you need to. But that's what you're going to see by default when you come in here. And this is something that you really, really want to have set up, even if you're never going to use bookings. So what I want to show you then is I'm going to close this little window and let me jump back into my bookings page. So once you are done, by the way, it does have this advanced options down at the bottom. If you need to have a buffer time from one meeting to another, so before the meeting, you need a 5-minute buffer. Buffer time after the meeting, you need another 5 minutes, so that you're not having people stacked on top of each other for having meetings. So just so you know, you could do that. You could also limit the start time to 30-minute intervals, just in case you need to do that. And minimum lead time, I have 1 day, that's the default. But if you want to say that they can schedule something with you within an hour, you could change that. And so if I'm in HR, I might want to change that so that if they want to schedule something with me in an hour from now, they're going to be able to do that. You can also do a maximum lead time. So we have a minimum, we can put in a maximum. So just so you know, you have that. And then also send reminder emails to the person booking time with you is an option. If you choose this add an email reminder, how soon before the appointment do you want to remind them? You click where it says 15 minutes before, and you could choose the time increment. And you can put in a little message reminder so that when they have that appointment, it will automatically remind them of that. If you do that, make sure that you do click Save Changes. Okay? So anyway, you can see up at the top what that looks like. It's got a little preview option. At the top right, you're going to click Save once you are done filling that out. You can always go back and make changes to it. So 100% you're going to want to go back in and make changes to things as you're working with them. So think about, prior to coming in, what do you actually want everything to look like? How do you want it to feel? What do you want for appointments that people can set with you? But just so you're aware, on the right-hand side where you have this ... menu, the More option, you can click Edit Banner Image. Edit Banner Image is going to allow you to choose an image to appear at the top. So when I was talking about my image was gone, when I showed you my link to my bookings, this is the image that I had chosen, which has some pencils, because I'm a teacher. I chose the pencils, but just so you could see, you have these options to choose from. As of right now, we can't do technically a custom banner. But I'm really hoping that Microsoft changes that shortly so that we could have something more branded to your department or to you or to your organization. But as of right now, these are the ones that you can choose from. Now, if you choose one of these, it's going to automatically apply it, and you get a preview on the right-hand side so you can actually see it. Down at the bottom right, you would click Confirm, and it would then, of course, save that image as your banner so that when people open it, they see that. Now, once you get it all set up, how are you going to share it? How are you going to provide it to others? If you go to the share icon on the right-hand side, you can click on that drop-down. You could go into, and this is my recommendation, if you're going to be doing this with people from outside your organization and inside your organization, I would have you choose email signature settings. That's going to automatically take you in so that you can have that be part of your signature. I've already got mine added, so you can see that default for new messages. I have all of that all set up already, but you could get yours set up so that it's a part of your signature by default. Okay. Otherwise, the ways that you share it, because maybe you're just going to do this internally, you could copy a link. You could then put it on a SharePoint page that people go to. You could have it be part of Microsoft Teams. You could have it be in a OneNote notebook. However it is you want to share it. All you do is click the share icon, copy link, then you, and I'm going to say not now, sorry about that, but it automatically is holding it in my clipboard. I can, of course, then go to whatever, an email, go to OneNote notebook and paste it. And then they're going to have, whoever you share that with, they're going to have access to it. Your other option is on this share dropdown, you could say share via email. So if you haven't already started an email, you didn't want to do the copy link, you could do it right from here. So I could choose who do I want to send this to, put in a message to go along with it, click send, and it's going to automatically send it to them. So just so you could see, you get different choices depending on what works best for you. Okay. I like all three choices. And sometimes I actually use all three because for some reason people don't always pay attention to our signatures. Or I'll say within the body of the message, I'll say, if you need to book time with me, use the link at the bottom. So just kind of a reminder, a heads up for them to know that that's there. So this is going to be one option that you're going to have. A second option that you do have, though, is let's say that you are part of the HR department, but you're not the only person that handles the new employee training, the welcome, the paperwork. They can actually choose from 2 or 3 different people within the department to schedule that with, not just yourself. That's when you could actually create a separate bookings page. Little bit beyond the scope of our session today, but let me show you what this is. On the right-hand side, notice I have this shared booking pages. I have this HR benefits, this ABC company sales. I have Jolyn Reen's calendar in this marketing department. Just so you see, if I click on that marketing department, this is a much more advanced capability because it's not just, booking a little, a couple of different sessions with you. It's actually allows people to have the name of what this whole thing is going to be called. You can have a logo to it. You can see this at my top left. Here's the name, marketing department calendar, and I didn't change the logo. I kept the default. But right now I'm on calendar, and I can see if anybody has booked time with anybody through this calendar. I could go to the bookings page and set all of this up. I can say, here's how I want to share it with others. I could copy a link. I could email it. I could embed it into a SharePoint document, a SharePoint page, different ways like that. But how do you get it set up? That's the key. First, you go to the left-hand side and you want to do business information. Put in the name of the department, the name of your company, because if you're sending this to vendors, to, outside for sales, somebody wants to buy your products and services, whatever the case is, put in your business details. So you're going to come in and you're going to put in your business name. You're going to put in a business logo. You can do your business hours. All of this can be set up. Then on the left-hand side, you're going to go to services. Well, technically, you might go to staff. Let me back up. I would go to staff because you can add different people then. So the example that I had with HR, if you want to add in 3 other people, you can do that. You basically go to add new staff, choose who the staff person is. Then you click Save Changes, and it would automatically have their calendar availability. Then when somebody goes to Yep, I want to discard changes. Thank you. When somebody actually goes to schedule a meeting, they can choose from multiple people, or just say whichever one of these people are available. But some people like to pick a certain person sometimes, so they could choose that person, and it's only going to show that person's availability, which is absolutely fantastic. Then you go to services. Services is like setting up your own, how you did with your personal bookings page. At the kind of the middle of the window, you click add new service. It's got a few more details here though, but you give the service a name. So if it's going to be, welcome, new employee, and paperwork. I could put that in. I could put in a description. Once again, I could do it as a location, how long I wanted to last, a buffer. If this is something that you charge for, it even has capabilities of doing an API that you could connect to money site. I couldn't think of the word I wanted to use. A site where you could actually be collecting a fee for that service. But anyway, availability options is a category on the left. You also have assigned staff. So if you're going to have specific people that they can choose from, you get all that set up. Data that you want to capture when somebody schedules time, you can actually choose custom fields. You could say that email address, phone is required. We want their address, whatever the case is, or create a custom field like you need to know, what is their business type, their SIC code, whatever the case might be. Choose all of that and then basically click Save Changes. Now, I didn't walk you through every bell and whistle, but this is an option that you could do as well. We could do a whole class just on talking about this part of bookings as well. But those are two pretty great tools that we have built in with this one bookings app that is already a part of your Microsoft 365 account. You don't have to pay extra for a third-party application. You already have it, and it's going to automatically be connected to your calendar. So if somebody goes to book time with you, they're going to know if you're available or not. So let me back up again. I'm going to go to the top left of this window, back to all bookings pages. Once again, you have your personal bookings page, which you can set up starting today and put it in your email signature or share it with a link, whatever it is that you want to do. Just make sure that you have all of your meeting types created with the duration of each meeting. Don't forget to put in those buffers. I didn't do that correctly at first, and I was having, I'd be busy in a training for an hour, and then I'd have somebody scheduling a meeting with me right at the same time that the training is ending, and I needed that buffer time because, we might go over with questions and things like that, so make sure you fill those in. Then if you decide to take this a little bit further, you could do the shared booking pages as well. You can do that either individually or you could do it as a department, whatever the case might be within your organization. Two very great options. So that's all I'm going to discuss today so far on bookings, unless somebody has questions. Like Matthew said, we can tackle those questions at the end as well. But the next app that I want to actually talk to you about is something that I use on a very regular basis as well, and it's Microsoft Forms. Matthew, did we have a question before I go to Forms?
Yeah, we do have a question just right before we hop in here. Someone was wondering if they don't have Microsoft products, if they don't use Microsoft products, is there an alternative option for them?
If they don't have a license for Microsoft, I would say highly recommend getting one. I don't know if Google has the capability to do this or not. I don't know if they have a bookings type of app with their free account or not. I'm not real sure, but it's worth having a Microsoft license for everything it is that you get. So if they, if it's an organization, of course, it's cheaper if an organization gets them and has mail and everything set up because it works directly through their Outlook. And so you need an exchange and stuff in the back if you're going to do it with lots of people.
All right. Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. So I'm going to jump right into Microsoft Forms. So Microsoft Forms, once again, can be accessed from all apps, but that's not the only way to create a form or to use a form. A form can be shared. Very similar to what I've already talked about with the bookings, a form can actually be used through Microsoft Teams, which I do that on a pretty regular basis. And let me show you what I mean by that. If I go to Microsoft Teams and I go to a team, I can go to a channel and we can actually have a form as a tab. You can actually create a new form or connect an existing form. You can also have a form be available via SharePoint. So if you have a SharePoint site or a SharePoint page, you can put a Microsoft form directly there. It's a standard web part that's available. But just to show you what one looks like, this is a fill out a safety quiz where this is a very simple, just wanted to show you a quick example, but I could have a different background color. This is called a safety quiz. Hi, would you mind taking 2 minutes to complete this form? And it already knows who I am. It says describe how to use a fire extinguisher. So basically what's going to happen is they would type in what their answer is, they click submit, and it's automatically going to go back to the person that manages that form. Now there could be more than one person that manages the form, but if I set it up, I'm usually the person that is going to manage that form. And then I can collect the results. And the best part is there's charts and there's an Excel spreadsheet that we can collect all those and do pivot table reports and all kinds of different things based on the results of a form. So I'm going to take a guess that everybody in this class today has filled out a form, whether it was a paper form during school where you do the number 2 pencil and you fill in the little circle. I used to work with Scantron back in the day. I've been in IT for a very, very long time. Also, you probably have filled out some type of a employment form, whether it's online, you're doing forms, or you're doing it on paper. Microsoft Forms works exactly that same way, but it's even easier. So how do we actually create these? Well, in the Forms application itself, once I opened it on my internet browser, I could create a new form by clicking the icon New Form. There's also a new quiz, or I could do an import. But you can see that it says Explore Templates. If you have time, highly recommend looking at all of the different templates that are available, because don't start from scratch if you don't have to. But as I kind of scroll down this window, here are some recent forms. So these are recent forms that I've been working on. You can see this particular one had 26 responses. This one doesn't have any. You can see just a snapshot of those different forms that are available. So that's not every form that I have, but if I go into where it says My Forms, these are the forms that I personally have created and I've sent out, etc., etc. I can also go into Filled Forms. I have this one called Expense Report Form. I have Shared with Me, and I have a Favorites category. So these are different ones that have been shared with me by others. I have a Favorites category also, so that if you have a form you're using regularly, you can share it. But I'm going to go back to this recent, and I'm going to open this existing one here first, this Microsoft 365 apps and usage snapshot. You can see, and I'm just going to close this got it window. You can see that it has a background to it. It also can have an image for the header at the top. It has the name, and it has a little bit of a description here as well. I can click on this and edit it because it's not the live form. This is edit mode that I'm in right now. And you can see that it already has some questions in there where I'm asking a question of which Microsoft apps do you use regularly? So these are the checkbox options, and I can say they can check as many boxes as they want. So we have the capability of doing Likert scales, all kinds of different things. Let me show you your options. Up at the very top, I can actually click Insert New Question. These are going to be your question options. So up at the, oops, sorry, let me go back to that. Insert new question. I have choice. I have text ratings. I have date. It can be a ranking. I have a Likert scale. I can have them upload a file. I have a net promoter score and a section. We can add sections because maybe this section is related to your personal information, this section is related to your department, whatever. You can have different sections. So pretty cool that we have all this capability. Now, of course, we don't have too much time today to go over a lot, but just so you could see, this is what this particular one looks like. We can have them type in an answer. They can be choosing, a star, those kind of things. But once you have this created, I want to show you these top features before I show you how to create it. Personally create it, there's a styles category. Under the styles, you could go and create, or I should say choose a layout, and then you get a live preview right away. And then you have these different background options that you can choose from as well. So depending on what you want it to look like, you've got these different options. You can even have background music. So if you're having them do a quiz or anything like that, and you want a little background music to it, you can do that. Now, I'm not going to spend a ton of time on that, but just so you could see, under the settings icon at the top of the window, you can see that who can fill out this form. Anyone can, or just people from your organization, people that I assign to it. It's going to automatically record their name, and or they can have one response per person, and it knows if they've already responded, it's going to tell them you have already responded. Also, options for response. We can accept responses. We can have a start date. So this isn't available until this date and it's going to end on this date. We could set a duration that they only get this much time to actually fill out the form. We can have it shuffle the questions. So if it's a quiz or something like that and you want to shuffle the questions around each time they open it, you could do that. Also can show them a progress bar, because if we're asking them 10 different questions, and they could see they're on question number 1 of 10. Just so you know, you get those. Also allow a recipient to respond after submission, get email notifications for each response so that you know you received a response. There's different Power Automate features that we can use with that as well, that if they answer a certain question, someone else could get responded to versus you getting a response every time somebody submits it. Lots of things in the background, because this, again, this Microsoft Forms is a part of your 365 app, so it works very well with all things. Plus, it has built-in Copilot. Copilot can actually build your form for you, so you don't have to. But I want to show you the preview. At the top, you have an icon for preview. So once you create it, you want to go in and preview to see what it's going to be, what it's going to look like for the user. You have a computer and a mobile. So if they're looking at it on a laptop, etc., you can see what it's going to look like. Or if they're looking at it on a phone, you can see what it's going to look like. I'm going to click the back arrow to go back to the main window again, and I'm going to click on Collect Responses. This is one way to choose how you want to collect the responses. Anyone can respond, only people from your organization. On the right-hand side, I could say, give me a short URL, not the full real one, and then I can copy the link, I can embed it. I could actually do a QR code where they can scan a QR code and fill out the form. We can also just simply send an email directly from this window. Pretty awesome features that we have for sharing this with others. But on the right-hand side, if you go to view responses, after people have filled it out, you can go to view responses. And what you're going to find is you can see I have 26 responses. The average time to fill it out was 1 minute and 47 seconds. The duration has been 249 days. And then I can see, 25 people answered Outlook. Only, 12 people answered OneNote. I can see based on question number 2, question number 3, number 4, etc. And on the right-hand side, I have the capability of getting the full analysis in Excel. And we can have it automatically be adding as records come in, as people fill out the form, that's called a record. We can have those automatically go to that Excel file so you can see them at any time. So if I click on that, I'm going to click continue. It's going to take me into that Excel file showing me all the results. So it's going to show the unique ID because it has to have that for each record. You can see the completion date, the time, the name, what answer did they give, blah, 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 all the way across. So you could do your analysis on the information within that form. So pretty cool that we get that capability. To me, that's one of my favorite parts. But could I connect to something besides Excel? Yes, you could. So if you had a SQL database, an Access database, whatever, you could collect the results in there as well. But let me go back and show you how do you actually create a form. So if I go back to Forms itself, where I had started in the app, I'm just going to click New Form. When you click on New Form, it's going to take you into, first off, you would have the capability of drafting it with Copilot. Explain to Copilot what type of a form you want. It's going to automatically create it, and you can still go back and edit. You have all of your tools at the top so that you can get into the settings. You can choose how you're going to share it with others under the collect responses. You can even do this present option, and you have a more options menu on the right-hand side. I'm not going to go through all of that right at the moment, but this would be one way for you to get started. If I went into style and got started this way, because and by the way, if I don't have Copilot, that's not an issue. I don't have to draft with Copilot. You can see I have this X to close draft with Copilot, because if I just want to create it myself, I don't have to use Copilot to do it. But I got to be honest with you, I highly recommend you check out the templates. You can access the templates from the main window, or when you're already in a new form. On the left-hand side, you can click templates. There are feedback category, registration category, research, request, or evaluation. So if I click on any of these, you can see the different templates available for those categories. So if I'm looking for feedback, I want manager's feedback survey. I want a teacher's feedback survey. An employee satisfaction. Whatever it is that you might be looking for. Registrations are huge. Research options. Request options, we're requesting help with something. We want to do an expense report. We need a vacation or a quick sick leave form. Whatever your case might be, choose whichever one you want, and look at it can automatically create it. And if you have Copilot, as you are creating it, Copilot can not only build it for you, but it can help you along the way. Now, we'll save that for another day. But you could see that if I wanted to change the style of this, the way that it's laid out and stuff, I still could go back to style up at the top and still make changes to that. But what did it do by default? Well, it automatically is giving us a name and then employment type. Are you remote? Are you part-time, full-time, self-employed? If I wanted to add to this, I could, because all I have to do is go to whichever current question it is, I click on it, and I have the capability of modifying it. So under employment type, if I want to add an option, I click the add option, and maybe I want to say self-employed. Then it's, oops, didn't spell it correctly, but I could have that be available. Now, if I want to move it up or down, or I want to delete one of these, you have the capabilities to do that as well. Also at the top right, I could rewrite it with Copilot. I could copy that question, because if I'm going to have a similar one, I could automatically have that be filled out. But also down at the bottom right of that little part of that question itself, it's kind of in its own little section there, you can get multiple answers, so they could check self-employed, full-time. Otherwise, you could choose that it's required, so they can't submit the form if they didn't fill out the required fields. But be careful with those, because if I'm requiring a name and they don't want to put their name in there, they could put a question mark in there, and it's going to allow them to submit it. So just so you know, because I've done that before. But you can see that you have all kinds of different things that can be automatically by default. There can be a leave date, there can be a return date, because we have all those different field types that we could be choosing from. But once you have the form the way that you want it to be, the key to this is getting it to people. So that's where you want to, well, of course, after you build it, you want to preview, make sure everything works okay. So this is what they're going to see when they receive this. They'll click the Start Now. They'll fill out the information. Then, of course, as you collect the results, you can come back in, and when you are collecting those results, you could go to View Responses, and you get the collection. It's got the charts. You could do the Excel file, whatever it is you want to do with it. But collect responses is going to be your kind of great choice for how are you going to share it with somebody else. So a lot of times I do copy link because I want to share this with just a specific group of people. And I usually will do shorten the URL, then click copy link, then I go to an email and I could create an email, or if I already had an email, create it. Or I just simply come here to the bottom right and I could send it to people this way. So just so you could see how this would work, I would put in the email addresses of everybody that I want to have access to this, put in a message, and if I have Copilot, I can have Copilot help rewrite that. But you can see down at the bottom, this is how it's going to look. Down here at the very bottom of this window, I'm having it automatically go to Outlook, but if I also wanted to go to Microsoft Teams to a channel, I could choose that and then choose which Teams channel. But I'm going to leave it as Outlook and I'm going to click send. So I send it to one of my coworkers and then they're going to receive an email message allowing them then to choose. Let me show you that email here real quick. So they'll get an email. So it says Jolynn invites you to complete this form. And then here's what they're going to get. And all they have to do is click start now. They fill it out. So it opens up that form, they fill out the information, and it automatically gives them a submit down at the bottom. So we can have these forms so easy to create. We also have the capability of being able to collect the responses. I don't know if you've ever tried to do that before, but back in the day when we just had paper, that was a nightmare. That was an absolute nightmare. It wasn't easy. This is easy to do. So if you have not ever investigated Microsoft Forms, I'm going to highly recommend that you check that out. Start with the templates. It's a great way to learn how to do it. Now, I could have created the form right in SharePoint. I could have created a form right within Microsoft Teams. It all depends on exactly where do you want the form. So if you have edit capabilities, and by the way, a form can be created in other apps as well, like Excel. If you see a create a form at the top, you have the capability of creating a form. Now, your results of your form or notifications can also automatically be given to a SharePoint list. So we can take the results of a form and have it automatically go to a SharePoint list. Lots of options, all depending on what you want for your end result. But test it with a coworker before you go live with lots of people. I always test it with a few people, even though I'm previewing it and all of that. I still want to test it, talk about the collecting, what do you want to do to collect the results, and then go live with it with everyone else. A lot of times I do have these on a SharePoint site because especially HR related, makes it super easy for someone to click on and say, hey, I want to sign up for this blood drive. We've got information on our SharePoint page about a blood drive coming. They can schedule their time right from there, or pick a time, let us know any health things that they need to do, whatever the case might be. Great ways to be working with these applications. But because we're so short on time, I do want to quickly jump back to my browser here. And I want to talk just very quickly, sorry, I didn't mean to close that window, about another app that you have. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because there's been some changes over the past almost a year already with videos. So if you ever created a recording from a Teams meeting or anything like that in the past, it actually used to use a different program for the editing capabilities. But now Microsoft actually has two different options available. We have Clipchamp, which I'm going to show you that one here real quick. Clipchamp is an editing tool. The viewer program is what we've always had, and I'll show you that here. It's called Stream. We still have that. They really are used for two different things, and I gave you comparisons and stuff in your handout. But what's the difference? Why would you use one over the other? Well, I use Clipchamp to make any edits. Like if I were recording a meeting and we started the recording 10 minutes before the meeting started and I want to get rid of that 10 minutes, that dead air time, I could do that with Clipchamp because it allows us to go into a meeting, an existing one. So let me just show you here real quick. I'll go into this butterfly video. See, so here I have this butterfly video and I could use this as just to play the video. But I also have the ability to go into record, and I can do a camera recording. I can do a screen recording. So if you need to create a training video that's based on how to use that fire extinguisher, you could do that. Also, you could upload files or other videos. You can combine multiple videos together as well, all depending on what it is you need. But the open editor is where you would go to actually change the image. I'm going to say copy now. So anyway, just so you could see what it looks like real quick, this gives you the capability of being able to trim out your video. So it's going to give you options for that. You can actually set up transitions and different things as well. You can have music that goes along with it. You could have a recording that's playing in the background. You could add sound to it. But notice all your menu choices on the left. Record and create. You can add text to anything. Here's music, stock videos. So there's videos that you could add in that are coming from Microsoft. It also has stock images. You could use templates as well, graphics. You can use different transitions. So how do you want it to move from one thing to another? And there's a brand kit you can use. So down at the bottom, it has the trim options. We could be splitting things. We could have one video that's doing multiple things. This is actually me at a butterfly place. I chose something personal because I can't show you all the videos that I have that are recordings from other meetings and things, but just so you can kind of see how that works, you could be trimming from one end to the other to change the length of how long your video goes. You can get down to the second, so that if I know I want to cut off 10 seconds at the beginning, 42 seconds at the end, it does have that capability. So it is not a full video editor, but it's more of a personal video editor. It is not a professional video editor. It is something that anyone can pick up and use without knowing a lot about video. It's also got a menu on the right-hand side for audio fading. It's got filters, effects that you can be adding in, and speed. So just wanted to briefly show you, because there's been a little bit of confusion as to, what exactly should I be using. Stream is still available, but Stream is more of a player. Clipchamp is your editing tool for minor editing. Okay, but we still have Stream. Here's the icon for Stream under my All Apps. So Stream is more of a video viewer. Clipchamp is going to be your editor. Okay. So when it comes to these other Microsoft apps, I encourage you to log into your Microsoft account like I started at here, and I want you to go into your All Apps. So open up your apps launcher. Take a look at every app that you personally have available. It's all controlled by your IT department. They can say, these are the apps I want this person or this group of people to have available, etc. So if for some reason you don't see forms or you don't see bookings, it could be because your organization could have that turned off. Just talk to your IT department and say, hey, I want to check this out, whatever, and have them turn it on. Okay, because that it can be controlled by your IT department. But it is crazy to me how many different apps are available. Look at all these different apps. And then ones that I have that are add-ins that I can be using, you can see yours as well. But definitely start checking out some of these other ones. We don't always need a third-party application. You could already have it hidden in this All Apps launcher. Okay, so check out bookings. Be sure to check out forms. I absolutely love both of those, but I'm really starting to like this Clipchamp. I've been playing with it a lot lately, needing to make some video editing, and it's pretty easy, and I know nothing about any of that. So give it a try.